Beyond the Wild.
We're ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm always ready. I was born ready.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
So I've been listening to our last couple, and I've been way too excited, so I thought I'd be more casual tonight.
Tone it down.
Open the show, pull it back.
Yeah. How about being a little more professional, Ron? I mean, that'd be...
That's not possible.
Okay. Just checking.
I can be casual, but I cannot be professional. I think we've established that over the years, and we all know that that is the case. How's everybody doing?
Fantastic. Being on a podcast with you guys, one of my weekly highlights. Sometimes more than once a week. Sometimes we miss a week, but when it happens, it's great. It's great to see you guys. I'm excited for what you have coming up. I'm going to miss out, odd man out on the meet and greet event that you guys are going to be high-fiving everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Jason, go ahead and let everybody know what we are doing.
Yeah, we've got PhotoX coming up, and the time we're recording this, it's literally just a couple weeks away. So,
and PhotoX is at
PhotoX is at Picture Line in Salt Lake City. It is an in-person event. Anybody that can make it, you got to go out there and sign up and get your tickets. Should be a lot of fun. There's a lot of really good guests and speakers. They threw us in the mix, so if you want to come hear us goof off and pretend like we're professional, you can come listen to that, and we will definitely have fun. And we'll be part of a board for questions on Saturday as well. So we're going to be doing a presentation on Friday, and then a board panel discussion on Saturday. So should be fun. I think when you sign up, it's very reasonably priced, and you get quite a bit for your money. Lunch is provided one of the days, I think. I don't know if it's Saturday or Friday, but all the information's on pictureline.com. So you can go out there and register if you'd like and sign up. And there's some other additional photography opportunities too, with some photo walks that are available as well. So you can make the most of your weekend. And when you pay your fee, it gives you access to both days and all of the keynote speakers and so on and so forth. And then if the photo walks are an additional fee, but they're very reasonably priced as well. So come on down and join us. We'd love to have you guys come in person and ask us some hard questions, and give us some grief, have some fun. Come pick up some stickers.
I think we're the opening act.
Oh, are we? Oh, that's yeah.
And then you can come out and play with the drones with me, because I'm going to go out. Last year they let me crash a DJI. They let me fly one.
Nice.
And there's some power lines nearby, so we might find those together. But come out, fly the drones, have a little fun. Lots of vendors, lots of gear, lots of swag you can pick up along the way, but it's always a good time. And of course, Picture Line's got a lot of sales going on through the event. So
yeah, it's a good opportunity to come and hear some really good photographers speak and learn some things, and just rub elbows with people and get some swag and all that stuff. So
Canon
we had a blast last year.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just going to say the Canon reps will be there, so you can get your hands on all things Canon,
right?
And maybe see some cameras that you've been thinking about, or lenses that you've been wondering about. Speaking of, new rumor popped up today.
Let's hear it.
24 millimeter R mount. That's a f.7.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm guessing not cheap.
Is it like is the front end of that thing as large as the 400?
It's I'm guessing it's got to be pretty glass intensive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yep.
Wild.
That's a rumor.
What's the other rumor you were telling me?
Oh, the other rumor is better rumor.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this last time, though.
Oh, did you?
They've scrapped well, I know I've shared that my philosophy was, or my guess was, the reason it was taking so long for the 200 to 500 to come out is that they were maybe going in a different direction. And it sounds like that's the case. So, Sony and Nikon both have a 600 zoom, that's very good glass. Nikon's got the 180-6, Sony's got the 2-6. And so it didn't make a lot of sense unless they had a teleconverter in it for Canon to stick with the 2-5, even though that was the rumored direction they were going to go. And so now it appears they've got the 100-300 f2.8. Now it appears that they're going to go 300-600. Could be f4, but the rumor that I heard was a 5.6, which is just fine. That would still be a good lens, and that would probably make it a little bit more budget friendly,
affordable, right?
Mm-hmm. So,
that would be a really cool combination.
Yeah,
I'm going to get to shoot the 1-300. I'm going to shoot it when we're in Alaska.
Me too.
Are you? Nice.
I borrowed one. Yeah,
very cool.
From CPS.
Very cool. So,
did not.
I'm excited to give it a
shot. I did
shot.
not buy it like you did.
I didn't buy it. I borrowed it. I did not buy it. I am not. Yeah, I've gotten a recent addiction that I'm. It's taking some of my time and money right now. So
let's talk about that.
Yeah, is this confession time? What's going on here?
This is confession time. Yeah.
Get it off your chest.
Well, you see, I decided to buy a drone, which I'd never seen any value in, quite honestly, for what I do from a photography perspective. It'd be fun to have, it'd be fun to play with, all that fun stuff, but I've just never seen the value in spending the money on one. And so went on a fun trip with Kelly down to southern Utah to take some photos, and we had fun, and he had his drone with him, and we were able to look at some landscape opportunities in a completely different perspective, and it just lit a fire under me. So I came back and called my buddy Colin, and apparently these things are a little bit difficult to get right now. Somehow he worked his magic, and I was able to get my hands on a new drone, and just in time for me to take it with me when my wife and I went down south and did some hiking and had some fun. So I posted a couple of photos from that experience, and I'm just chomping at the bit now to go back. You know, I flew that thing for like 6 hours in the first weekend, and just so everybody knows, I'm now officially a professional drone pilot. So
nicely done.
Based on your post, I would agree with that. That post was mind blowing. The light and the scenery.
When you said you never saw any value in it, I was like, "Oh, I can see some value in that first shot you posted."
Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, that's Kelly and I found that spot, and I mean, I've seen other photos of that spot. You know, being in all honesty, but nobody told us where it was. We just kind of ran across it, which is kind of fun, you know. So,
okay, since you're confessing,
yeah,
I want you to go ahead and just let the world know that your secret weapon, your secret photography weapon, is Kelly.
I've never denied that. I've admitted that multiple times. That's how I've learned all my trade secrets, and Harlan too, right? I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Harlan's taught me a ton about the photography side of things for sure. But Kelly's for sure helped me shortcut some, you know, things when it comes to the landscape stuff and locations and technologically. You know, we've had lots of conversations. I mean, when you're in a car with somebody for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours at a time, you know, you talk a lot. So, and I just happen to try to, you know, hey, what about this? What do you think about that, Kelly? What about this? Do you know where that's at? You know. So now he's really gracious. I appreciate him. He's a good friend, and it's, you know, fun to go with somebody like that. And, you know, that could be my pro tip.
He just stumbled. Boys and girls, Jason just stumbled on a pro tip.
See my if you're on YouTube, you can see my Beyond the Wild pro tip
idea
button just came on. So, but yeah, no, you're right. There's something to that, Ron, for sure. You know, so you've helped me too, Mark. You've helped me too. I mean, you know, Ron, you let me go and do some photographing with you. That, you know, I really think you build a network, right? And everybody helps each other out. You build that trust with people. You know, you do your part. It's a give and take and all that fun stuff. And I think it just, at the end of the day, it's benefits everybody. So it's important to build that network, in my opinion. So
can't
Absolutely.
talk about it enough.
You guys are a big part of that. So I appreciate you.
It's fun sharing with anybody in the field, right? And take back and forth. It's why not? There's no reason not to nowadays.
I agree.
And I wanted,
Yep.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
No,
I
go ahead.
just was going to say on a sidebar too, Ron, your energy's never too high. Bring it, brother,
No,
all the time.
absolutely.
Yeah. Following up on the beginning. Sometimes I get right in the camera with excitement too. Guess what? But the drone, so which model did you get? I mean, you live in one of the best places for
Yeah,
landscape and flight. I mean,
fortunate for that for sure, because really, I mean, you could go southern Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. I mean, there's just some incredible desert landscapes all around us, you know. So I got the DJI Mavic 3 Pro. I decided to go with the little bigger model and was kind of nervous to fly it the first time. I'm sure everybody that's flown a drone, you know, especially when they've spent that kind of money on it, you understand that, the little bit of nerves. And anyways, I learned real quick, those things are so incredible. They're so easy to fly. They really are. I mean, if you're ever questioning if you can fly one, trust me, you can fly one. They are not that hard to fly.
This is my therapy session right now.
Right.
Please give me confidence.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. How many hours have you logged with yours?
Well, we've been in each other's company for a fair period of time. It's come on a couple of trips with me, and I've owned it for over 2 years, and it's well rested and well charged right now. It's updated. It's never flown. It's one of the most embarrassing things of my career, right? Sometimes we get these. I have another thing too. It was an arm, a gimbal. I had one, and Tyler used it in Alaska when we did that trip, and so he ended up taking that one, and I bought a newer one that came out, and it's never been out of the box. And the drone is another. This has only happened a couple of times, but it is super embarrassing because most of this is tools. But the drone's very exciting, and Jason has just proven that. I mean, look at the picture on his Instagram and on YouTube that will come up here. It's such a great and wonderful perspective. And Mary from Alaska that we had on a recent episode. I mean, there's so many places, obviously not in national parks, but there's so many wilderness places that landscape or following you can help B-roll tell the story. But to continue on and quickly finish up the embarrassing part, yeah, I've never flown it. And I charged it all and updated it. I did try once in Newfoundland with Pilly and a good friend, Greg, at the end of a tour. We took it out into a clearing and I had it all fired up, but it wasn't updated. So all drone pilots know this. I didn't, being new, that an update had come through. I had no service there to update it. And so I couldn't fly it. So to make sure to update before you go in the field or that it's current. But I'm looking forward to it, but I am nervous because I've sat on it for so long now, right?
Right.
But it's not as expensive as yours. It's the Mini. You know, I bought it so it's 249 grams, 1 gram under the licensing limit for at least here.
Right.
And but yeah, I can't wait to try it. But it's and I've been with people flying drones. You know, Sean James in Alaska, watched him take his and down a mountain valley just to the edge of sight, and amazing footage. And Michael in the past flying them in Whittier had fun there with that. So so please be my mentor here, Jason, and help me get off the ground.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I just say just do it. You know,
Jason, you said you have how many hours logged now?
6 hours now, which is, just in case you're wondering, I've got 4 batteries, and I went 2 mornings I was able to fly. The one evening I wanted to fly, it was raining and snowing and clouded up on me, so it was not an opportunity there. But that's about 45 minutes per battery, right? It's actually about 40 minutes per battery if you're being honest. And I flew, you know, all 4 batteries one day and all 4 batteries the next day. So actually about 5.5 hours. But yeah. So, but yeah, I can't get enough of it. I'm just itching to, when can I go back? So
That's about 4.5 hours more flight time I had when I took Angie Birmingham's drone up.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I was an expert as well.
Do not go
It's
home.
the swagger. It's the
Do not
confidence.
go home. Yeah, it's you know, there's something to be said for that, Mark, because
There
it's
totally is.
amazing. It's amazing how confident you can be when it's not yours.
Oh, that was so fun. I can't. I know we've talked about it before, but I just to refresh. Ron walked up to that thing like, yeah, sure, no, I'll fly it. Give it to me. And she had like, oh, he was so confident. She's like, oh yeah, no, here you go. I'd rather you fly it than me, you know. And so he takes off and he's flying, and she's like, have you really flown these much or something? He's like, no, not really. And you can just see the look on her face, like, okay, well,
Oh boy,
but it all worked out.
it did.
On the boat in
Thankfully.
Svalbard, right?
Yep.
Right.
Our very first podcast is in that story. Yeah.
Yeah. Too funny, but no, it's always fun, right? It's a new tool, like we talk about all the time. The GoPros, the different, the Osmo, the different, even your cell phone, right? They're all just different tools to help tell a story. And so I'm excited to think of other ways other than just, drone landscape images to, use this and help, benefit the things that I do with my photography. So,
Well, Instagram will love you, right? We all want Instagram to love us, right?
Nah,
Right?
I don't care
Yeah,
anymore. I'm
well,
over it.
Well, I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
For video, and that's what I'm thinking. Video. Next question is, what percentage have you done of video versus stills? I mean, the video stuff will be great for your feed.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I do have a video that I've been kind of playing with a little bit. You got the DJI Cut or whatever it is. It's a free video editing app for your clips and stuff. And I played around a little bit with one clip and went to the Bentonite Hills in Utah. And that's a great spot for drone footage, drone video, drone photos. But it's just super colorful in that. So I do have a video of that, and it was the only time I used it. I probably did, I don't know, 3 clips of about a minute apiece all. So the majority of what I was doing was flying and scouting to find locations and then taking a few shots and moving around to find a different angle, a different set of leading lines, a different composition, and then taking a few photos. But so it was mostly photos in all honesty. But I mean, I definitely can see the benefit of the video option. And there's been a bunch of stuff coming out, and I think I don't know if it's officially announced, but the DJI Mavic 4 Pro has some incredible upgrades, like 100 megapixel wide angle camera on the 24 millimeter. And it's got a 50 megapixel on the 166 millimeter lens. It's got 3 lenses on it. And then it's got a video mode that you can actually video in, portrait mode for social media, right? I mean, obviously. So you can don't have to mess with it. You record it right in that mode, right from the camera. And it'll do 6K video. I think it'll do like 4K 120. Like, it's got some incredible capabilities for such, small sensors and small cameras. But yeah, excited to play with it. It's a fun toy. But.
Have you tried the follow features at all?
I have not. Matter of fact, I was talking to Kelly about that. I think, and I know this has got to be built into my drone. I just got a lot of learning to do, but it'd be great to go out and scout, when the light's not great, and find the spot you want. And I can't imagine this doesn't have this feature, and hopefully maybe somebody will hear this, and by then hopefully I'll know, but you can ping me and let me know. But in the software, you got to be able to mark that spot, the altitude and location. And then you could just basically leave. And then when you want to go back, instead of messing around to get there, you just go to that spot, right? And send the drone, and it'll go there. And then you can, fine tune your composition and take your photo or whatever. But it'll do that on the way home. It'll come right back and it lands within a foot of where it took off from very consistently. So I did have one experience, kind of fun. I was flying it, and all of a sudden it's got sensors all around it, which everybody knows for avoidance. And there's nobody else around there flying at all. So, and I was below the ceiling that you're supposed to stay below. And I'm just cruising around. All of a sudden I was moving to a different spot, and the sensor on the right front on my screen started buzzing pretty good, red and, warning. And I was like, whoa, what the heck? And a bird flew right in front of my drone. Right. So I was kind of like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. And then I've heard other people telling me stories about how they've actually had birds, attack their drones and stuff. So
I just saw somebody posted one on Instagram. I don't know if I can find it again, but this kestrel, you can see it like starting way off in the distance.
Uh-huh.
And that thing just came on a beeline to the drone, and then it just kind of turned and faced the camera, and it did that full turn, full wing spread, but looking like right at the camera. It was locked on. And I got backed out of there and came back home, but that Kestrel was out there a long ways. It's hard to tell perspective wise because the camera is not very wide, but it
Right.
came from where you couldn't see it, and then all of a sudden it was like 10 frames it was on that thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible the range they have too. I mean, I was blown away. I tested it on one battery, and then it's funny. Kelly told me a story because he just went down south with his wife a couple days ago, and he he had a situation where the return home feature was a little bit off, and his drone went down well before it landed back at the car. So they had to go on a little hike to get his drone. I mean, it landed safely. It didn't crash, but it was in the process of landing, and it just had enough power to land, but it wasn't going to make it back to him. So anyways, just a lesson learned there. But I flew that thing out there as far as it could until the auto home thing turned on. And I don't know how far out it was, honestly, but I mean, I flew that thing a mile for sure, because I know the distance that we walked on this one hike, and it was a mile, and it took that thing, I don't know, a few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes to go that mile. So they fly pretty fast, and I was flying straight away from me about 25 minutes before it turned around. So I'm guessing it had to be 5 to 7 miles away from me. I'm just rough guessing, and I'll probably get people correct me on that. I'm just guesstimating here. So, but that thing turned around, and it took the rest of the battery to get back to me, and it came back, and when it landed, it had about a minute of battery remaining. So, learning, you got to be careful. You don't want to push it too much. When it says battery's down, you get some wind that comes in all of a sudden, it's pushing against you. Your battery life's going to go down further and faster, so there's definitely some things to learn about this. But I did buy the DJI Care, so if I crash it, as long as you can recover it, you can get they'll replace your drone. So that's a nice peace of mind. But no, it's basically recover your drone, send it in, and you have to pay for the shipping up front. And apparently they refund your shipping and send you a new drone.
Wow.
And that's the one I bought, was the 2-year coverage. And I think you can do it as many as up to twice a year, I think. So not that I want to wreck it. I don't want to go through the hassle of dealing with it, but it gives you peace of mind and not be so scared about flying and trying things right, But
going back to our earlier conversation, is that coverage transferable?
That's a good question. I was actually thinking that very thing. I would assume it is, but not for free, of course. But
Oh no,
I'm just teasing. Yeah, I don't know for sure, honestly. But the other thing I'll tell you, this is a little bit of a pro tip, is when you buy a drone, if you decide to, I've had a couple of people reach out to me already asking about which one I've got, and it looks like a lot of fun, and I would tell you, if you're thinking about it, do it. It's so much fun. Secondly, when you do buy it, when you first log into the DJI Fly app, you have the option to buy the DJI Care. If it's what you want, do it then, because be prepared to do it then, because you don't do it, I think it's 48 hours. Then there's a whole process you got to go through. And it took me about an hour to get mine registered and to get the DJI Care option approved so I could, purchase the option for the insurance. So it's just way easier if you do it right up front. All you do is pay the money and you got it and you're done. Otherwise, you got to do this whole little video routine and send it to customer service, and they got to review it and go back to you, and then they contact you to pay. And understanding how to do the little video and recording your phone, your remote screen while somebody else is recording it, and all the little steps you have to take. And anyways, it's a pain in the butt. So if you're thinking about doing it and you want the DJI Care, buy it when you first register. So.
And yes, before we get a lot of professional droner hate,
yeah,
you're supposed to keep it within sight, within visual distance.
Hey, I didn't know that, honestly. I'm learning.
Exactly.
I need to go through.
That was my point.
I need to go through the. No, I appreciate it, Ron. You're right, and I need to go through the licensing process and all that stuff. I really do. Yeah. I'm going to get licensed. I mean, I'm not doing anything commercial with mine at this point, right? But I am going to get licensed because I don't want to have any issues, and I want to make sure that I'm legal and all that good stuff. So
yeah, we
please
don't want any
beat me up too much. I'm learning.
Don't want any hate. It's a learning process.
Right. And I'm happy. Please give me pointers and, help me. I'm absolutely open to any feedback and things I need to be doing and things to watch out for and all that. Please do. I'd love to have you guys share any of that with me, but just try to be nice, please. So my feelings are fragile.
This is my little one, the Mini 3. And I only part of the reason I bring it up is because battery life, I think this one's only 20 or 21 minutes.
Oh, is it? Okay.
For battery life. So
it's about double for the bigger one then. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you mentioned it or not, but picking up the extra batteries then when you buy it.
Right. Oh yeah. You can buy the Fly More package and
all in one little kit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what it was. The Fly More package.
Yeah, and Colin and them, when I was down there again, it was funny. I love it. They were razzing me because I call it the Fly Longer package, and so they were laughing and razzing me and say, "Oh yeah, no, let's get him the Fly Longer package." So anyways, but the Fly More
and a micro SD card that we pick those up outside of it too, right? So get them big enough to handle if you're doing the high resolution video.
Yeah, if you're doing video at all, I would definitely get an external card. I think the new one has a pretty good chunk of memory in it. The one I have has like 8 gigabytes, I think. It's not a ton of memory, but you can get a
terabyte on those.
You can get a terabyte SD card for $120 or something crazy. You know what I mean? It's not very much. I mean, and you can spend a lot on them too. There's some higher end ones for sure, but for what I'm doing, I got like a 500 gigabyte one or something, and I mean it'd take me a year to fill that thing up if I was flying it all the time, I would think. So, but
really,
yeah,
you're doing. I guess even at 4 or 5K, it would still take a long time.
Yeah,
but you want to have.
If you're doing a ton of video, maybe not. To your point, Mark, if you're doing a ton of video, it may not take that long to fill it up. But again, for me, most of the time, I'm just trying to take some stills, and that might change for sure. But the point is the memory's cheap. You know what I mean? And the micro SD cards are very affordable. So,
want to hear a funny story?
Always.
Good. Our producer JG. Sorry, man. Yeah. This isn't really throwing him under the bus. This is like him trying something that was funny. SSD hard drives, external hard drives, small little ones. There's various brands, and they're usually like up to 4 terabytes, right? 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte. Well, he found one online that was up to I think it was 40 terabytes on this little same sized, like twice the size of size of your 1 inch by 3 inches, let's say, and quarter of an inch thick, if that. And so he ordered it, and it was like, I mean, sometimes it was because it was so cheap. Sometimes if it's too good a deal, then you gotta, that is too good a deal. Exactly that size, and it had a different name on it. I'm not going to say what it was,
right?
But be leery of it. I have a window here somewhere. So he bought one for like $20, $30 and it was like 40 terabytes, and it didn't work at all. He was able to populate it with some stuff, and then as soon as he disconnected it, it didn't work anymore.
Oh,
so, and this was on a an online store, that
a reputable photography store.
No, not photography and anything store that people are very familiar with. So,
right.
But it was he was messaging me. I said, "Can you believe this?" Because there's monstrous memory in this little thing. It's like, well, why not? But the price point and so on, and it didn't work. So, for those that are looking for these devices, contact Colin at Pictureline for the brands that you can trust. But it was a fun experiment. JG's out. Again, I apologize if I'm off on the amount, but $30 or so for it. But it made for a fun story when he was calling me on it, and I got to chuckle on it. But if it had worked out,
you didn't tease him at all, I'm sure.
So it's funny what you can find out there.
Yeah,
and be leery of. So any other on the drone stuff then, as far as your first 6 hours, any other tips before we switch subjects? Or?
Well, just to Ron's point, I got real excited. I didn't check into everything. I was aware of regulations on height of flight, try not going over a certain elevation and stuff because things Kelly told me. But yeah, take another pro tip. Take the time to understand the regulations and the rules, and don't just go out and start flying. You probably ought to at least get online and make sure you understand the rules. And from what I understand, I don't know, maybe it's the size and weight thing too, and people can help me on this too, I'm sure. But the larger one, I probably do need to be licensed to be flying it, even whether it's commercial or not. But I think the smaller ones, you don't have to be licensed unless you're using it commercially because it's under that weight limit.
I don't think you even need to be commercially, as long as and I could be corrected on this, but obviously not in restricted space, right? Like if you were going to a national park, you'd have to require approval and permit, right? Apply for a permit, which would be super rare to get. It'd have to be a really justifiable reason,
right?
But I don't think in just general wilderness that you need to be licensed to sell your stuff commercially.
Yeah, I'll have to check into that. That's one thing that I had kind of found, but I don't know. Maybe that's just here in the States too. I don't know.
Well, wilderness, you can't fly them at all because that's motorized. But
that's it. Okay, so you're here in Canada. There's Crown land, right? Anything that's not restricted as a national or provincial park is you can camp on it. You can.
Right.
I don't think you can alter it in any way, but you can fly a drone and record. There's not
sure.
But I understand in the States, there's areas that, it's designated wilderness area for protecting that space environmentally. And that's a different category. And I may be using the wording and terminology too loosely. And just wild lands.
Yeah. So you're right in that the BLM and some places in the Forest Service, you can fly them as long as you're not doing so commercially. But
so even
designated wilderness areas, you can't. Yeah.
So
everything Colin told me was that the limitation is commercial or not.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I mean, Colin's flown drones for a long time. Apparently, I didn't know that's something new I learned about him. But he's been flying them ever since I've been around. Apparently, so.
Well, this is.
But it could be different in Canada too. Honestly, I don't know. But I do know that there are some state parks you can fly them in, but like Antelope Island is an example I found. That there's all drone flying is closed between I think like March and November or something like that. But you can fly them at a certain time of year, and you still have to get a permit to do so. Mm-hmm. So you can't, like in Goblin Valley State Park. I was down there and I went there for the first time, believe it or not, and with my wife, and we hiked around and checked some stuff out. But you can fly drones. There's people flying drones around. I was thinking to myself, how are these guys all flying these in the state park? But you can if you get a permit again there too. So you just got to pay your money. And there's certain state parks, at least in Utah, that you can fly them in. So you just got to do your homework and research before you. I just didn't take the chance on any of that stuff because I didn't want to. I was in areas where it was clearly not an issue. The drone has features too that tells you if you're in a restricted area, which is nice too. So there's a ton of safety stuff built into flying these things, which is really nice to keep you out of trouble and keep you from potentially crashing it if you're not too crazy. But
yeah. I was dialed in when I bought it. I've read everything, but it's been that long, jokingly now. Yeah. I thought you could, with this size of the 249 gram, I thought, as long as it's not a restricted airspace, that you could fly it, record, and sell commercially. But I'll need to investigate that. And this is one of the benefits of having our wonderful audience.
Absolutely.
Please feel free to comment on our Instagram, send us a DM, and let us know if there's anything that we should be clear on, and we can forward that in the future to an update. Yeah. But either way, the stuff that you've collected so far is outstanding, phenomenal. The lighting and it's. I have other friends that use them, and it's so much fun. I just got it. The B-roll. I think for video is what I'm excited about. Just where it can be used.
Yeah, that's another good point of emphasis is B-roll, landscapes. You're not hearing any of us talk about following wildlife with a drone.
No.
For sure. Nope. So in Wyoming specifically, you can lose it. I mean, they can take your drone. It's harassing wildlife. And so you got to be careful with those regulations as well. Make sure you know them. And even though you see it happening on television and like Jimmy, when we had Jimmy McDonald on, the podcast, they did a lot of drone work, and most of that was zoom, and they were way out. They had animals walking right at them, and they're getting those shots. But those are all licensed. Those are all with permission of the wildlife management agencies for a commercial shoot for that reason specifically. So,
Right.
yeah, be careful with it.
Yeah, one thing I've known, the word's out on drones and not flying them in national parks, because when we hiked to Delicate Arch, there was somebody flying a drone, and everybody was hollering at this guy. You can't do that. It's illegal. What are you doing? So. And in all honesty, you're sitting there, you're watching the sun go down, you're hanging out with your wife and taking a few photos as the sun goes down, and you hear this, it's a little annoying. So I get it. As fun as they are to fly, and as fun as it is to get those angles and that, I think it's nice that there's some places that you're not able to fly them, so that it doesn't disturb the impact of nature. Now I say that, and there was like 50 people around us too, so it was not like we were alone. But
it makes sense, though. I mean, my only interest is in remote wilderness, not around people or anything that way, or animals, and just the B-roll, the landscapes, the light at beginning and end of day, and would never want to disturb animals that way. And it happens. We were on fishing bears in an Alaska river, and a drone came buzzing up and was like 25 feet above the bears. And one of my good friends that was with me had rocks going at the drone. But it was tourists that weren't from North America that presumably didn't know or didn't care.
Yeah.
And the drone didn't stick around for long, but yeah, that was in a situation that shouldn't be used. So yeah, it's important to, and maybe that, mine, first flights, I just want to be in some forested wild area that's got nothing to do with just remote, right?
Yeah.
But cool. The video stuff from Jimmy's episode, it just transforms what can be collected for telling the story of planet Earth and wild space.
Those avalanche sequences that those guys got for that, especially that episode in particular. Holy moly. And they were obviously working with Parks Canada, because how else do you know where the avalanche is going to be set off? But, when those guys are doing avalanche control, it's a perfect time to get footage like that. And flying right down the chute of an avalanche is just, it was amazing footage. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go check it out. The Americas, and it is the Frozen North, I believe, is the episode.
Yeah, all of them are really good. I've enjoyed watching them all. Yeah.
Yeah. The stuff down in Ecuador with the spectacled bear, the drone work that they did on that sequence as well. Holy smokes. Yeah. Beautiful.
Well, way better than GoPro, right? For the avalanche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so what else you got for pro tip, Mark?
There's a couple of questions actually. Since we were talking about video, let me pivot to this one from Mike Hochman, HOCHMAN on Instagram. This just came in this morning on a DM, and Mike's heading on a safari and has. Let me quickly read a part of it here. He's taking his R5 and his R6 Mark II, 1:5, 24:70. He has very minimal understanding of video, but is hoping to work on that prior to going, as people should, right? Learn your gear and settings. Makes sense, totally. He knows the basics of frames per second, then doubling for shutter speed, but doesn't really understand what settings are best for general video. He loves slow motion effect, but he just can't use that every time. So for a beginner, he wants to know what your advice would be, so that he doesn't have to make adjustments in the field. For default settings, do you prefer 24 or 30 frames per second, and then slowing and editing? Or so that was something I was wondering too with slow-mo. I mean, we do it all the time, record something even on my phone, and when I put it on a reel, I can just slide it down the frame rate to make it slow-mo, and it's fine for socials. And does that deteriorate? This is my question. I'm sorry, I'm spinning that. We can deal with that question. My question in a moment. Deteriorate quality versus shooting it slow-mo originally. But he's just basically wondering between 24, 30, or 60 frame per second, or 120. And he wants to know if there's a simple answer to this as for that part of his video shooting.
So yeah, I think for a couple of reasons you would shoot in 120 frames a second. Number one is because it allows you to cut the light, and especially if you're going on safari, you're going to be in some pretty harsh lighting conditions, and so bumping down or dropping your ISO, closing down your aperture, and then shooting with a faster frame rate, so you're at 1/250th of a second. Those things are all going to allow you to control the light a little bit, but you still need to make sure you take a neutral density filter on. So the lenses that I heard you mention, Mark, it sounds like they would be the same objective. I think they're 77 millimeter objective, possibly 82.
And 1 to 5.
Yeah, so I think there's 77 millimeter on the neutral density filter, or you can get an 82 millimeter and then just buy a step down ring. And what I would strongly recommend if you're going to be doing it out there, so depending on which lens you have in place, is get one that's like and we're not sponsored by them at all, but like the Peter McKinnon version of those neutral density filters has a magnet, so you could screw the magnet mount onto both lenses and just leave it on there. Your snap cap is going to go on, and then you just never take the magnet off. They're a little bit cheaper, and then just buy one ND filter, and then you can just pop it on whichever lens you're using at the time. Both of those cameras are very good hybrid cameras. The R6 II and the R5 are incredible hybrid cameras. Both of them. I think the R6 II, I think you can shoot at 4K 120, at maybe 4K 60. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to check. But that allows you to control the light a little bit more without neutral density. But shooting those harsh midday conditions, you're going to want a neutral density filter. As far as general settings, if you've got plenty of light, shooting at f8 or even f10 is going to give you, if the animals are close or your subject's close, is going to give you a little bit more forgiveness on the focus, because those, while they're very good, the focus systems are now, they still do jump around a little bit. So you're going to have the focus kind of going in and out and do a little bit of hunting. If you're using autofocus, and if you're using manual, it's good to have a little bit deeper or a little bit more depth of field, so that you, as you focus manually, you have a little bit more forgiveness there as well, and you're not missing as much, because if you're new to it especially, you're going to miss plenty. But don't beat yourself up about that. One good clip is worth 10 misses, so just practice on that a little bit before you leave, and focusing, make sure you understand which direction, and then make sure you've got something to stabilize it. Don't be disappointed. You get in a safari vehicle with several people, especially multiple people are photographers, and you're trying to shoot video. It's going to be exactly like shooting in a boat, because there's going to be a lot of movement, and it's sometimes you can help it, but sometimes you just can't. People are going to adjust, and I know Jason and Carla Cox and Amy Harris are laughing at me right now, because there's a couple times in the boat where I was like, hold still, and everybody's trying to get the shot. So yeah, they're probably like, shut up, Ron. In fact, I think Amy did say that a couple times.
Sweet little Amy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sweet little Amy. No, she is. But that's just a couple things. I think that's one of the reasons you would shoot at the
120.
higher shutter speeds. Now, as far as slowing it down in post, you can certainly do that. You do get it. It does get a little bit choppy, but as far as what you were talking about, Mark, using it for social media and things like that, maybe it's not that big a deal to you. So if you are low light, certainly shoot, 24 frames a second, 1/50th of a second, and then adjust your aperture and ISO from there. But it allows you to shoot before anybody can even think about shooting stills. So that's one area that I like to get video when I'm in the field, is just before there's any option to even shoot a still image. You can be videoing.
So when you're out there, then if you're shooting 4K, would you shoot everything you can in 120 because it gives more forgiveness of movement, or would you do, 24, 30, or 60
Not necessarily. 1/30th of a second. So if you
frame rate, frames per second?
yeah, so
30p.
30p, yeah,
Yeah.
30 frames a second, and then multiply that by 4 is 120. So it's better to shoot at 30 than 24. 24 is like that cinematic. If you're gonna use it for something more high end, then yeah, you would look at 24. But 30 frames a second, 30, 60, 120 is a good timeline to shoot it on, and then it'll slow down a little bit and then slow down a lot once you get to 120. But you keep it kind of in that same family if you shoot at 30. But 24 frames per second is definitely the cinematic look, if that's what you're going for.
So 30 frames per second keeps it in the equation to go to 120, but so would 60. Why would you shoot 30 over 60?
No, you could shoot either.
Okay.
And or both. So when it's lower light, if you don't want to jack your ISO up, then just drop your frame rate. Go to 30p and 1/60th of a second, and then where if you were at 160 or 60p, 1/20th of a second, obviously you've got to bump it a full stop. So you're going to be bumping your ISO. So if you want to control the ISO, keep that down, then no problem. Drop to 30 and then go to 60 as the light gets better, and then you can go to 120 as it gets brighter, if you want to.
Yeah, it makes sense.
What lenses did he mention again?
24-70 and 100 to 500 millimeter Canon.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to mention, if you're shooting a prime, you can always get the slide-in NDs for that go into the back of the lens there. I bought me a couple so I could start doing a little bit more video. So again, I haven't used them yet, but for that situation, that'd be ideal. To Ron's point. So
if you're going on safari though, and you want to take one
Right.
of those nice 28 to 70 f2 lenses, I have one for sale. So
you have one for sale. Nice.
I bought the 24 to 105 f2.8 when that came out, and so it's going to allow me to get rid of 3 lenses and keep one.
Nice.
Appreciate the question, Mike. Sorry.
Just on that note about lenses, when I was down in so everybody's always wondering about lenses and what we use in that, and I have 2 landscape lenses. I have a 15 to 35 RF, and I have an RF 10 to 20. And I used that 10 to 20 on some shots on my last trip down there, and that was actually it's a very good lens. I don't know all the technical stuff about it, but there's like hardly any distortion. There's distortion, but not like the horizon seems to be fairly flat. I don't know if it's doing like it's not doing an in-camera correction. I don't know if it's just part of the way the lens is designed or what. But anyways, that was fun to shoot some 10 millimeter options. It's pretty crazy how wide that is. But and then obviously there's distortion. I didn't mean there was no distortion, but just, a lot of times you get too wide and you start having to adjust your horizons and some stuff. But didn't seem to be much of that impacted. So.
Aspherical type impact.
Yeah. Anyways.
So Mike's Instagram is Mike HDVM, and there's a lot of wading birds, beautiful light, songbirds, and some mammals. Appreciate and good luck on the safari, Mike. So I know that was a listener question on a pro tip episode. Sidestep in the pro tip. Does that count?
No, I actually have another pro tip too.
It doesn't count for you.
there's another. Where'd it go? Have either of you guys used? There's a question came in. Michael Brewer was wondering if you had any experience with the Canon 200 to 800. He's got a 100 to 4 EF, but was hoping to have something with a little more reach. He's shooting the R5C and wanted to get an opinion on the 2 to 8. Doesn't the 8? What's the aperture at 8 on that? Was it 11?
I think it's an F11. I thought, but let's find out really fast.
Yeah, I'll Google it.
Yeah, that's where I was going to. So you'll beat me to it.
The 800 is F11.
What? The 200, 800 is 6.3 to 9.
6.3 to 9. And then the fixed 800 is F11.
Oh, that's what
I was thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
So have you guys played with the 2 to 8 by chance?
I have not.
I took about 10 shots with it. Thomas, one of our guides up in Churchill, had one. It's a sharp lens. The only thing is the light. But again, you're going on safari, you're going to have plenty of light.
It was a different mic, different person.
But I mean,
sure.
Depending on the use case, if you're shooting in well-lit areas, it might not be as big a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is a sharp lens. If you watch both those guys from Australia, that Jan Wagner and I cannot ever remember the other guy's name, but they're both very good, and they love it. They love that lens.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think depending on what you're using it for, there's a lot of different use options for it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great price point. I think $1,800, $1,900. So
yeah, you throw that on a R7. Holy moly, got what 340 to 1.6, 340 to 1280 or something like that.
Yeah,
that's a crazy amount of reach. 1.6 conversion.
Cool. Well, if you want more information, Michael, please feel free to contact Colin Bigelow at Pictureline. He can answer questions. He'll have hands-on experience. And if I didn't look at Instagram as far as your location, but obviously if you're in the Salt Lake area, the weekend of, it's the 16th,
16th and 17th.
Yeah. Yep. Be reps there and lots going on at Pictureline for any questions that way or hands-on coolness.
Yeah, you might even be able to just put your hands on one and slap it on your camera and take some shots too. So
I love 800 millimeters as an option as part of the kit. Different lens, obviously. And cameras go through a lot, right? They're tools. We work them hard and typically have low tolerance for error. One of my Z9s this weekend stopped working.
Uh-oh.
But yeah. So it was on a 70-2. I'd used that lens on 2 other occasions, so it seemed to be a fine marriage. And the camera I used all fall as one of my main bodies. And it just, over the course of about 5 or 6 hours, about 15 times it stopped. So the buffer, it just froze, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and there were good shots in the buffer most times. It's like, So quickly shut it down, pop the battery, pop it in, fire it up, and hope that the subject is still in a good situation to repeat. So that camera is not going to be played with on an official outing in the near future. I've switched it on a 1:4. I'm going to test it. Then it hasn't had the last 2 firmware updates because it was working fine. I haven't got around to it. No issues. So I'll update the firmware and hope it solves it before making a trip to Nikon. But that was a disappointing surprise. But happens, right?
Yeah, I feel your pain because that's the same thing I was dealing with when I first got the
R5 Mark
R5 II.
II. Yeah.
And now, man, that thing's a great camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, something glitching. I don't know. It has shot tens of thousands of frames on it. I mean, it's not. Why now?
Motherboard. Mine was a motherboard. That's all.
So would it work sometimes? You get a whole.
Yeah.
You shoot for half an hour.
It would work fine sometimes, but even Jason, I needed a headshot, so I just gave him my camera to use. And he took it, and he's like, "What the heck's going on?" And it
was weird.
Blacked out, and it would just do that periodically. But
I'll report.
Pretty sure it's because I tried to take a photo of Ron. That's probably what ultimately messed up the camera.
Well,
and what a headshot it was. We all need those headshots now and then.
They were the widest headshots I've ever seen because he was scared to zoom in.
I didn't know we were doing a headshot. I thought you wanted a portrait. That's funny. He's like, I know the R5 II has some really good crop capabilities, but come on, man.
All right, so can I give a quick shout out? I'm just procrastinating pro tips one last time.
I got another pro tip, and I think Ron has one too. So
yeah, no, I know you guys. Yeah,
okay. You're gonna get out of it, is what you're saying.
No, he's not.
I'll save it. I'll save it for the next episode we do.
Do a shout out. Do a shout out, or you're gonna forget.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna forget. I'll just wear the hat again.
Oh,
but check out this cool hat.
That is
Tasmanian Devil. Watch this.
Yeah.
But so my great friends Mark and Sue Jones from Australia sent me a package, and this surprise was in it. Super cool. They spent a month in Tasmania, and obviously the Tasmanian Devil is now extinct on mainland Australia, from my understanding. It's endangered, but it's still in Tasmania. And this hat and a whole bunch of really cool coasters came with different types of wood from that region. So thank you very much, Mark and Sue. Very thoughtful of you and much appreciated. Very cool and very important to represent this species. And I have a couple of things on here. So if you go to Mark's Instagram, he has, so it's MLJ_wilderness_photos. He has a great variety of images from North America and Australia, but his Australian stuff recently is very interesting because of how unique the wildlife is in Tasmania, an island off the coast of Australia. He found a platypus and videotaped it. So think, to me, it's like I just think Men in Black and the little aliens inside the animals, and only because platypus are so different than what we expect to see on this incredibly diverse planet. For some reason, they stop us and we do a double take on them. And his write-ups were very educational. Hats off to you, Mark, on that. So for the platypus video, which was just posted 6 days ago, we're now May 1st recording this, so go back to the end of April. The platypus are monotremes. Here's the biology moment for today's Beyond the Wild podcast. Monotreme are egg-laying mammals. Let that sink in.
That's interesting.
Just having this conversation last week on a grouse lek. It's incredible. Still feed milk, but have a duck bill and lay eggs.
Right. And they don't have teats. milk is provided to their young, which are called puggles, which is not the breed, not the cross of the pug and other dog breeds. This is baby platypus, platypi.
Platypi.
They provide milk to their young via secretion from pores located on the female's belly. I'm like, what's that about?
Well, you got that little duck bill. That'd get sore if you.
Right, yeah. Good biology moment there. So what the video is so great. What a unique encounter. I mean, how would anybody who cares about nature and wildlife not just be stopped in their tracks to watch a duckbill platypus work along a river and riverbank? I mean, so original and unique. And the other is the echidna. So it's the echidna is also a monotreme egg-laying mammal. The other one in Australia. And so that post was also very recently. So have a look at those.
The hedgehog.
Yeah. And right. They have little spikes. They look like a miniature porcupine, but with a little nose that sticks out farther than a porcupine. But obviously totally different biological makeup. And yeah, read up on his Instagram. It's quite interesting on the echidna biology between Tasmania and mainland Australia, which they are found as well. The Tasmanian Devil hat is much appreciated, and thank you, and gave us an excuse to talk a little more about Australian wildlife, which grows on me every single year. An amazing part of this planet and such a treat to experience.
Even has a leucistic wallaby in there.
Right? Yes. Yeah, that was I
crazy.
Think recently as well.
Oh, speaking of, guess what?
Shoot.
Leucistic pronghorn. Boom.
Oh, did you find it?
Yeah.
Did you get shots?
I don't know, Jason. You'll have to watch the episode and find out for yourself.
Oh, good. It's going to be on YouTube. You got it.
I love it.
That's so cool.
That's way cool.
It's the second one in the area, but it's like completely different. They're probably 50 miles apart. But last year, there was one last year that was a fawn, and then this one is mature.
Is it a female or male?
Female.
Is it? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Are both of them females?
Both of them. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. Congrats.
Yeah.
So
that's weird. I don't remember getting a phone call about that one.
I think I did text. But no, I have to go play with. I have to go play with my drone.
Fly this silly drone. That's funny. Nah, that's cool, man. I'm happy for you. That's awesome. That's unique. That's rare.
Love it. All right, so I'll do a little pro tip. It's going to be fast, and it's something I'm learning more about, and I don't know if everybody's going to care about it. I certainly do. The more I read on it, it freaks me out. Just if you Google it, there's lots of information out there on PFAS, PFAS. It's a group of man-made chemicals used in many consumer and industry products, and they're called forever chemicals. And it's a synthetic chemical that is used in a variety of products, including stain-resistant fabrics, cleaning products, paints, et cetera, et cetera. It's something that for outdoor gear clothing can be used to help waterproof material that normally wouldn't be as waterproof. And so I have all kinds of gear, pants and coats that have been applied, and I'm just learning about it. And so I discovered recently there are some brands out there that don't have it and advertise as PFAS free, and which would be much better on the environment and potentially much better on our own biology wearing it. So it's Googling PFAS-free clothing. So I'm going to get a couple pair of pants and a different jacket and stuff for my hiking this year because they're on me for days and days and days and days. So it's just, it's not a photography pro tip, but it's something to educate yourselves on as far as just health and welfare and issues with this stuff. And I'd like to see them as a sponsor. I guess can you guys hear me? The internet seems to have slowed here.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Anyway, who knows?
Sorry. You would like to see Forever Chemicals as our sponsor?
No, gosh, no. Jeez. No, I just a company that doesn't use them. So, I stumbled on, and I have a parka by Fall Raven. But I just try to find a variety of outdoor gear that suits the purpose for my wilderness photography adventures. But their pants on their website are all advertised PFAS free, and there's so many varieties. And so, never owned them. They seem to be decently reviewed, but I'm going to pick up a couple of those just to avoid the forever chemicals whenever possible. But
for what it's worth, I know quite a few people, and Kelly included, that buys the Fall Raven pants and stuff, and they loves them. So I don't think you'll be disappointed. They're a little spendy, but
they are. Yeah, in Canada, it's like $250 to $275 a pair. But if they're gonna last 4 or 5 years of hard trekking, they're reinforced in all the right places. Something that I've seen on their website. Since they don't have a chemical treatment, you buy this wax that you apply to the garment and can apply it in the areas that need it. So like knees and butt where we're kneeling and sitting, if it's damp, then it helps waterproof it. And then if you run it through the wash, the wax comes off again anyway for breathability. But I would only apply it to the areas that touch the ground more so, right? Or lower pants, but those are all reinforced. And the other, again, I'm not trying to promote a brand. I'm just relieved to find, and there may be other brands that have PFAS free product, but it's loud and clear on their website, so you know which items are. It's just nowadays with gear, my cell phone, such an instrumental recording device for all kinds of purposes. If it's not a chest pocket on a coat, on my thigh, to have a zippered pocket is a big deal for how big cell phones are now. So, and these pants have that, which is something that appeals to me because there's no, they're not going to fit in the back pocket of a jean and keep the phone, right? It's got to be zippered somewhere for security. So, yeah, I'll report back on them. I'm going to order a couple of pairs, but yeah, they are expensive. But other brands I've ordered for real outdoor hiking have always, been a bit more costly, but seem to last a long time. And hopefully these will too.
yeah. Yeah, I think they get good wear for sure. Everybody I know that uses them, they love them. They keep buying more. So,
yeah. So anybody curious about that? It's just PFAS. If you just Google that, then there's information out there to be aware of.
cool. It's a good one.
Well, it's not photography, but people wear it, right?
We're all gear that we wear when we're out taking photos, right? For sure.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
We'll give you a pass on it. So I'll spill into my actual pro tip, and then Ron, you can do yours because mine kind of relates to your Z9 not working.
Hold on, it's a family show.
So I have 2 R5 Mark II bodies, and I have 2 R5 bodies, and I was going to sell one of those bodies and keep one as a you remember, set it up as a remote camera. We talked about that before, I think. And then I was going to just sell the other one. Well, I'm getting some issues. I shot some night stuff with them recently, and I've got some hot pixels that I've noticed. And the only way to fix that is I've tried mapping the sensor. I've looked it up, everything. And so long story short, I've sent both of those bodies back into Canon, and it's probably going to cost me to the tune of about $450 per camera to get those things fixed, because I'm assuming they're just going to replace the sensor and then do their normal upgrades or whatever. Or,
Is this on the
cleaning and stuff.
R5s or the R5.2s?
The R5s. Yeah. So, and I've had them for 5 years. I mean, it's not unexpected. Lots of cameras end up getting these issues, especially if you shoot longer exposures and things from all this stuff I've been finding out. But, anyways, long story short, one thing it caught my attention to do was, instead of selling the other one after I get it fixed, get the sensor fixed, I'm going to turn it into an Astro camera. So something to think about for everybody. If you are into shooting Milky Ways or night shots or long exposures and things of that nature, Astro type photography, there is a company that's here in Utah. Actually, it's in Lehigh, that's called Spencer Camera. And they do the Astro conversions to, I think, about any camera. Mm-hmm. And it's, I don't know all of the things they do. They remove the low pass filters. They, do some stuff where they bring the sensor cleaning, back on to it or whatever. I don't know all the nuances, but I think to do about everything you can. I think it's somewhat camera dependent. It's about, $600 or so, $650 to convert your camera to an Astro camera. So something to think about. I think I'm going to do that. So once my camera gets back from Canon, I'm going to, I think, send one into them and have them convert it so I can, and I think it just helps with some colors and some different, clarity and some things with the night sky and some stuff like that. So yeah, just something to think about. If you have, I know not everybody has extra cameras laying around, I get it, but if you do and you end up getting a new camera instead of selling the old one, if it's something you can afford to do and keep, you might want to consider if that's something you're into. So there you go.
Sweet. If I had 4 extra cameras laying around, I would.
I knew it was coming. As soon as I thought about the pro tips, like, well, here we go.
Let her rip, Tater Chip.
Yeah, bring it on.
So we're getting toward camping season and spending a little bit more time out in the field. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about was battery life, because we were talking a little bit before the show. I mean, not that I stole this pro tip from Jason.
You're welcome.
But we were talking a little bit before the show about how long it actually takes to charge batteries in your vehicle. And, driving from one side of Yellowstone to the other, you're still only going to get about 50% charged. And if you turn it off, then you're starting over again. So while we were having this discussion, I busted out my EcoFlow.
Oh, yeah, so funny.
This is a straight up stolen. It's like pro tip napping.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Straight up
Ron,
stolen.
I give you all the credit in the world because I didn't even think about it as a pro tip. That's awesome.
Yep. So I've got this EcoFlow. It's got 2 USBs. It's got 1 USB-C. Plus it's got just the regular plugs. And then it's got a charging port. You can even use your car charger in there. On the back, you can charge it, either plug it into the wall, or it's got a car charger that you can charge this thing while you're on a long road trip or whatever. And then it's, for instance, like when Jason and I went down to the desert a few years back and did the collared lizards. Mm-hmm. It's a 10, 12-hour drive on the way down there. So even if you forget to charge this thing at home before you leave on that trip, you can be charging it all the way. Yeah. Have it 100%, and then you can get a few battery charges out of it. Plus you can, if you've got, let's say, a GoPro setup, this thing will run a GoPro for 19 hours. So if you've got, a movement, you put that new software on it, where your GoPro basically becomes a motion camera. This thing will run it for 19 hours. So you can leave it out there all day. It won't turn on, won't record unless it senses motion. And you're in good shape. You can just charge it overnight. There's also, what I bought along with it is a solar panel that you can plug it into and charge right off the solar panel. So you don't even have to be running your vehicle to be able to charge this. So, look at that thing is.
Well, I'm winded.
Yeah. So it was a good conversation that we had, and it is an excellent pro tip while we're spending time out in the backcountry and you don't necessarily have access to a wall plug. This gives you that option, and you don't have to kill your car battery to do it.
Well, and I think just as an important side note, trying to charge drone batteries on the go is a whole nother ball game. If you're trying to use your car, good luck. So they suck so much juice to get charged that having that remote battery option is night and day. You could actually charge all your batteries in probably 3 or 4 hours cruising around in the middle of the day and be able to fly in the evening without having to go back to a hotel or something or whatever. So yeah, for sure. And Mark's is bigger, just to be clear.
Yeah, but it's
I ran to the car, out to the truck to get this. I've always carried them and had them for each kid's vehicles, bought them for Christmas presents. It's just a booster, right? And it's an air for tires. But the thing is now they come with lights, but they have the same idea. They have the USB chargers.
Right.
This isn't for backcountry camping, like Ron was pro-tipping. This is just in the vehicle itself too, right? But I've helped so many people with an almost flat tire or dead battery. And I mean, they're a couple $100 to have in the car, but when you're out somewhere remote,
it's worth it.
Make a happy day.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it. That's a good one, Ron. I don't know how you thought of that one. That's really good.
It just came to me. I mean, sometimes you just have divine inspiration.
You know what? I'm actually really mad at myself that I didn't obviously think of that as a pro tip. That's so silly. That's hilarious.
I'm just glad I got to go last and it wasn't taken.
Right.
All right.
Awesome. I noticed that drone batteries do take longer, right? I mean, when I charged them 2 weeks ago to resurrect this new little thing here, it took all day to charge the 3 batteries. Whereas I might, like, even the Z9 batteries don't take that long. But anyway.
No. The 3 battery charger I have for the DJI Mavic 3, it takes about, from my first time, it takes about 3 hours to charge them all full. On the 3 charge, and it charges them one at a time. It charges in sequence. So the nice thing is if you had 4 batteries or 5 batteries, and one gets charged, you can pull it off and stick another one on there. But
the other rough part about trying to do that in the vehicle while you're traveling is those things come loose. So
yeah, they do. They're not very tight in those. You're right.
Not a super tight connection.
It's a good point.
Wow. Awesome.
It's been fun, guys. And we've got some great guests coming up, some fun episodes as always. So stay tuned for more. Watch on YouTube. I love doing that. It's to see what JG does with the extra footage, and we'll get to see Ron's Leucistic pronghorn on YouTube.
Right.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not saying I have it. I'm not saying I don't.
Listen, if I watch it and I don't see it,
right?
you and I are gonna have a talk.
There'll be a comment that's unlike the others.
Yeah. Exactly.
And to those of you that have given thumbs up and comments on YouTube episodes, thank you for doing that. And to our audience as a whole, thank you for following along, for giving us your feedback, for interacting on social media. If you have pro tips or questions or anything, suggestions, we're always open to interaction and conversation. So keep in touch. I'm excited about PhotoX for you guys, and it sounds like you're going to be really involved. I wish I wasn't so far off. One of these years, I will make it down there to high five and have fun. But it sounds like an exceptional weekend. Go ahead, Jason.
Sorry, one more quick announcement. And I'm kicking myself I didn't bring this up, but again, also remember the youth camp coming up for the folks here in Utah. Lessons through the lens. Kids for Conservation. If you want to sign up, go to the Utah Wildlife Federation website and get signed up. There's 20 spots available, but 13 of them have been taken right now. So there's still time. You got about a month before the first camp kicks off that first weekend in June. So if you're interested, go get registered.
And don't let finances be a block.
Yeah, it's not
Scholarships available if necessary, if that's something that you want to do.
good point. Yep. And it's very minimal. I mean, the registration fee is not very much at all. So it's a great opportunity for any of the youth that are interested in coming out and learning some stuff and getting some opportunities to shoot on Antelope Island. So sponsored by the Utah Wildlife Federation and, of course, by Pictureline. So Pictureline has been very generous to support us in all the things that we do. So we appreciate that.
Excellent. Well, it's May. Things are greening up. Birds are active. There's so much going on. Baby animals will be born, mammals coming up. Enjoy the springtime, and we look forward to seeing you all again next week. Take care.
You've been listening to the podcast.
The smooth tones of Mr. Mark.
I didn't do that. I could slow it down.
No, I mean, boy, if you did, you'd have women just.
We are still recording.
You are married, Mark. So
I want you to do this.
No.
I want you to do this, Mark.
Yes. What are we doing?
Just give me a podcast.
Oh, that's tough to beat that one.
Do it.
Don't want to beat it. No, that's good. Podcast.
A little more sultry.
Beyond the Wild. Thank you. This is getting silly. And that's a wrap for another episode of Beyond the Wild podcast. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Pictureline.com, your online source for everything photography, and Canon USA.